Never share combat experiences or anything like that, but we do talk about times we had, where we were, and stuff like that. And so as I got more into it, somehow or another, and I to this day cannot remember how I heard about Run for the Wall. And so I started looking at that, and I was still working in those days, and I said, well, I could join them in Chattanooga and ride to DC. Then I got to look at, well, I could join them here. And my wife was going to meet me in Chattanooga. Then I says, I want to go all the way. I want to go all the way from California, from Rancho Cucamonga, California, to Washington, D.C. with the whole pack. Well, my wife was still going to meet me in Chattanooga. So as we got closer and closer, she says, would it be okay if I came all the way with you? So that was awesome. She's a great lady. And if you notice, it's her picture on my fuel tank on my bike. And she's a great lady with a big heart for veterans and causes like that. So.
Does she ride as well?
Yes, she does.
Okay.
Yeah, she had her old bike for quite a while and gave it up so we could buy a big old cruiser so she could be more comfortable with the little princess on the run for the wall. And
what's her first name?
Her name is Melanie.
Melanie. Okay.
Melanie, yes, and great lady. And so we wound up doing that. I got the bike out to California, and in fact, I took that chopper the first year, and we got out there. We hooked up with the guys there. I mean, I met so many awesome people. I sat down and was having a few beers with a guy for a day and a half before I even realized he was an ex-POW. Or no, yeah, not an ex-POW, but a Medal of Honor recipient. Yeah, Medal of Honor recipient, and from Vietnam, and a Marine, and so we got to know each other, got to know a lot of the other guys that are on the ride, made a lot of great friends, and so you're hooking up with 800 dysfunctional veterans, most of us Vietnam vets, and but we welcome all veterans, all active duty, even non-service, whatever, They're all welcome to participate and get this message across about the POWs and MIAs. The run started 24 years ago by a local guy, not at that time, but he's now local, James Gregory. And another great guy, very involved, very active in a lot of Veterans Affairs. He's actually the president of the Low Country chapter of Vietnam Veterans of America. And so I didn't actually meet him till the end of the ride, but when we left California, it was kind of a drizzly, dreary day, and we pulled out, and all these bikes are there, and all this, you think it's chaos riding with a pack that big, because there's two routes. There's a southern route and a central route. Well, I like warm weather. I don't like being cold. I don't like packing all that extra gear, so we chose the southern route. Well, it's hard to imagine. It's kind of like being in Vietnam. You can't talk to somebody else about it if they weren't there, So on this ride along, and especially the first time, seeing, the streets and the overpasses lined with people coming out to greet us, with American flags, with welcome home banners, just waving and greeting us and thanking the veterans, and signs like that, which, gosh, you forget this country gives a hoot sometimes, and then you see, you go along, and you're like the city of Blythe, California, shuts down the whole town. It's on a Wednesday. It's a school day, and kids are out of school. People shut their businesses down to come out and line the streets and greet us as we pull into Blythe. We ride through the whole downtown Main Street of Blythe, California. Then they serve us lunch, and it's a great lunch, put a little presentation, and so you get through all that, and then you're riding along out in the middle of the desert somewhere, just in the middle of nowhere. I mean, there's not even an on-ramp or an off-ramp for this overpass. There's that one lonely person standing out there with an American flag, waving it and greeting us, or maybe holding a flag and saluting us as we come by. There's not a dry eye in the pack. There's, at that point, there's probably 400 of us. Is that noise too much?
Is that too much
Of course, now he stops.
Well, it's not going to.
Let him-
Give it just a minute. He'll be done.
Did you get a chance to go on the website? Pretty awesome, huh?
It is. It's
Yeah.
a great website.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I was so interested that I was reading through the newsletter. I was reading all through the newsletter and everything.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of really good information.
Yeah. Very organized, very structured too. I mean,
Absolutely. And I love the fact, that the rules are there very clearly saying, that you got to be registered at the beginning because, we have to maintain order and make sure we know everybody and the safety and all that. Was very impressed by all
yeah.
that.
Yeah, they've really come a long way with that.
But when you're involving that many people, it is important,
Yeah.
that you're just kind of making sure everybody, because safety is a concern when you
Oh,
have
yeah.
that many bikers riding together.
Yeah.
I would think that you probably got all different experience levels riding with you too.
Oh, unfortunately, yes. That's a good question for you to ask, too, on the camera. But, yeah, it's, yeah, he's got one little spot there. If he just,
He's almost done. He's got a big group of people.
Gracious, that thing makes a racket.
yeah. I like my electric one.
Yeah, that's definitely industrial strength with the whole backpack for the gas motor.
Yeah. Okay, where were we?
You were telling me a little bit about the man that was standing there greeting y'all on the overpass when you were riding out through the desert.
Yes.
He was just one lone man there.
That
Tell me a little bit about him again.
Well, as you're riding along, and there's right across the desert of Southern California and Arizona and Texas. It's pretty boring. There's not a lot of scenery. You'll go for miles and miles without seeing anything.
Right.
But all of a sudden, up on this one overpass was this one guy, one man standing there with a flag in one hand and a full salute in the other. And I can guarantee you, my wife was drowning in my tears. And the bikes behind us were drowning in our tears. We were drowning in the guys in front of us. I mean, there wasn't a dry eye in the pack, I assure you. And then we stop along the way and visit schools, a lot of elementary schools. We make donations to them. They come out, we greet them, they get to meet some soldiers and have a good time with that. We stop at VA hospitals along the way, which is just awesome to do that and get to visit those guys. And the reception we get when we pull in is just phenomenal. I mean, the people they're out there, they're glad to see us. When you have that many motorcycles pulling up, it's it's an impressive sight. And we just seem to really draw a lot of positive attention to our cause. There's so many experiences that you gain along the way. It actually changed my life. Yeah.
How soon?
Well, it's just the fact that I can't talk over that.
Excuse me.
Oh, he's got that whole patio to do. He wants to get done so he can go drink beer.
He does.
Yeah.
I understand that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's so nice out here.
It's
Yeah.
beautiful out. It really is today. It's just a little windy, but not bad. They said tomorrow it's only supposed to be like 62.
Yeah.
I know. We're going to have like a couple of days of really cold weather again like we had last Friday.
Yeah.
But I think this is like winter's last hurrah. And then I think we're going to have a very hot summer this year.
Oh, it's going to be brutal.
Yeah. That's okay.
Hopefully it'll be so hot my grass won't grow.
Now that's what we look for.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it really does stink to have it 95 degrees and 80% humidity and you're out there having to mow that grass.
Yeah, or with a weed whacker. And,
Yeah.
yeah, it's just,
Yeah. Well, my husband's figured out that I actually really like to do yard work. So he's like, okay.
yeah.
But he's good. He'll mow and edge. But the gardening, that's all mine.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
That's all mine.
Well, I take care of all the demo and lawn maintenance and edging and all that stuff, and but my wife handles all the planting. So that's
Sounds like the same deal in my family.
yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah.
He doesn't really know the difference from an ivy or a rose bush. So
Yeah, I don't either. I think and I really don't want to.
He doesn't care.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
right.
I'm from the Southwest, so I somebody says how pretty this place is around here. I think, well, yeah, it might be, but how would you know without all these damn trees in the way?
So where are you from originally?
I was born in Russellville, Arkansas,
Okay.
and but as a young man, I moved to Southern California, where I went to junior high and high school, and that's also where I enlisted in the Army. And then as I got my career going, I found myself relocating around the country, and I spent 35 years in the nuclear power industry, commercial nuclear power industry, mostly doing maintenance and service in nuclear power plants all over the country. So I actually been inside 100 different reactor buildings in this country.
Wow.
Yeah, so.
How long were you in the Army?
I was in the Army, I love this question. I was in the Army for 2 years, 7 months, and 14 days.
Not that you're counting.
Not that I'm counting.
It's one of those things, Tanya, when you don't start, like, if you haven't done exactly 20 years, you always know exactly how many days you've done.
Yeah.
I did 3 years, 8 months, 16 days
Yeah,
on my regular active duty time.
Yeah.
It's just one of those
So
things.
you just
Yeah.
know that, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because my husband did retire, but he retired at 20 years, 8 days, 20 years and 8 days. And that was exactly it.
okay.
20 years and 8 days.
Well, of that 2 years, 7 months, and 14 days, I spent 2 years, 2 months, and 1 day in Vietnam.
Wow.
Yeah, so, I actually thought about staying in, but I got to thinking after spending 2 years over there as a field rat, if I came back home to the States or got some kind of civil reassignment, I'd be a private in 2 weeks. I didn't know how to play Army. I knew how to do what we had to do, but I didn't know how to play Army, so that was kind of my choice. I liked having those stripes, and I wanted to keep them. So.
Well, that's okay.
Yeah.
What rank did you come out at?
I came out of the Army as a buck sergeant E5,
Okay.
and then later on I went in the Army National Guard and made a staff sergeant E6, right away. So that's why we're that rank,
There you go. How long were you in the National Guard?
Not that long, maybe 8 months. Yeah.
All right. Let's go back to now that he's gone. You were talking about the fact that participating or riding in the Run for the Wall has really changed your life. How?
It totally turned me around. It made me realize some of the needs that are out there for veterans. It made me realize my own needs. As a veteran, as a Vietnam veteran, to get out there and, start letting this stuff go. Of course, it did bring out my PTSD, which I have been subduing for 40 years, and which caused me a lot of issues for a while. But there were issues I guess I needed to deal with. And so I was finally able to, I'm finally now able to flush a lot of those things out. Thanks to the VA hospital, this one right here, Ralph Johnson, with medication and not a lot, but just some therapy, they've really gotten me through a lot of issues that it could have been otherwise very destructive. And because it's not a thing where I'm afraid to go to Walmart. I'm just curious that if I was there too long, I might kill somebody. I'm not afraid of anything. That's one of my problems. But but it really did. It got me back in touch with real veterans again, boots in the dirt guys. Guys that went through stuff, guys that were injured, guys that were shot, guys that went down in helicopter crashes. Got to meet some of the most awesome people I've ever met. When we pull into DC, we are a family. We pull in there together, unified. The first thing we always say to each other when we greet is "Welcome home, welcome home." And a lot of us waited over 40 years to hear those words. That was why it was so easy to hide our stuff back in those days. It was just more convenient, instead of fighting the issues. Of course, I don't see any of these demonstrators coming out today. Well, we'd like to. But it's just a phenomenal experience. I mean, the day it ends, you all of a sudden you're going, wow, it's going to be another year. We got to wait a whole year before we get back together again. But we pulled into DC on the Friday before, actually in Arlington, the Friday before Memorial Day. And some really cool things get to happen. First of all, you get back together again, the Central Route and Southern Route get together again, so you get to rebond with some of those guys, some of those people. On Saturday, the FNGs, and they used to stand for something else when we were in, but now it stands for find new guy or find new girl, new gal, okay?
Oh, that's no fun.
Yeah, yeah, I like the old term better. But they get the privilege, which is the privilege I got the first year, to ride their motorcycles with the group, and about 200, 250 of them, into Arlington National Cemetery. It's the only time they let them do it.
Wow.
And so we ride into Arlington National Cemetery very respectfully, very quiet. There's no revving of the engines, nothing like that. And we park in the central area. We go down to, or up to the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, where we witness the changing of the guard, and a couple times, and we lay a wreath at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, which is a big honor. And even though there's no body in the Vietnam box anymore because they've identified him and pulled him out, it's still a major symbol to all of us. So, so we get to do that. Then we ride down to the mall in DC, and that's, of course, Rolling Thunder is in town also. So there's hundreds of thousands of motorcycles, everywhere. So we ride down there. We go up to the Lincoln Memorial. We go on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial and take a group photo, which is always kind of fun, just getting these guys all organized and turning the right way and, squish it in and all that stuff. And then we take the group photo, then we go to the wall. Then we go to the wall. And we go down as a unit. We protect each other. If somebody loses it, we don't let a bunch of tourists take snapshots of them. We cover them up, we block them. But I would like to share one experience that I did have in that visit, my first year I went. Some of the guys took me under their wing, You know, it kind of helped me get across. I mean, because I did lose it a couple times. Like in Rithville, Virginia, will always be a great place to me because that's where I finally just unleashed everything. And but we're standing there at the statue of the three soldiers, and at this time I think it was under construction, so it was in a box, but they had portholes in it so you could see. And so one of my, I'll call him a guardian, says, "Okay, Al, you ready to go? AJ, you ready to go to the wall?" I said, I haven't made up my mind yet whether I'm going or not. He goes, "Oh, you're going." I says, "You don't understand. I'll go when I'm ready." So I'm standing there, and you got to imagine this. I mean, there's a big crowd there. There's people everywhere. There's people talking, all this stuff. I hear my wife and I are standing there together, and I mean, I may not make it through this story, but I hear this voice behind me explaining, well, this is a memorial to the guys that fought for this country in Vietnam, a place called Vietnam. It was way over in Southeast Asia. He said it was a very unpopular war. When these guys came home, they got treated awful. And so I want y'all to know, that you need to respect these guys and what they've done for this country. I turned around and looked. It was a young man, probably in his mid-30s, talking to his two sons. And all I could do was just turn around and I said, "Thank you." And him and I hugged and bawled for several minutes. And of course his kids are sitting there looking at us like, what the heck's going on with Dad? But and we, there was that voice came, I was having to be in the right place when that man was talking to his children. And that put me to the wall. That made it okay for me to go. And you talk about emotional experiences. Everyone has their own, but that will always stick in my head. And it's tough. I mean, I wish I would have got that man's name and number, contact information, because I have no idea who he was. Maybe at some point he'll see this video or read the magazine and hear that story and know who he is. Please contact me. But
What year was that?
that was 2009. 2010, I'm sorry. Sorry.
No, it's okay. I mean, and I think that that's one of the things one of the reasons we do what we do is because it is so important to honor our veterans that have served, and there really are a lot of people that really care about our Vietnam veterans, and y'all served honorably, and we can't let you forget that.
Yeah, we did our job the best we could.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Absolutely you did.
And everyone that was over there, there's no, we were all brothers, and we still are today. Didn't matter, everything else aside, we were all brothers. And
tell me about, just in your own words, the importance of honoring those who have either fallen or are still missing.
oh my gosh, it's, I'll give you a take on it from something I was thinking about riding on that motorcycle, cross country, one of the years, might have been the second year. And was the fact that all the people that came home, okay, before there was a wall, and before there was, people started coming out and actually acknowledging us for the first time. All those people that passed for whatever reason, okay, car wrecks, Agent Orange, wounds they encountered over there, or just, a lot of suicides. Didn't really matter how they passed, but the fact that they passed and never got that welcome home, never got recognized. Their family probably never knew a thing about their military career, what they did for their country. Because we didn't talk about it. We didn't talk to them about it with our kids or our wives or nothing. They'd ask us a lot of questions when we wake up in the middle of the night screaming. So same with the POWs and MIAs. Okay, those guys have never got their welcome home. They've never. Yeah, we acknowledge them. We want their recovery. We want their accountability, but they still haven't got their welcome home. And as we bring these remains home from Southeast Asia, and I think it's a great mission those guys are on to go over there and recover and identify those personnel. As we bring them home, they're getting their welcome home. They're getting their thank you for the service. And the ones that aren't accounted for, and we haven't identified or we haven't recovered, or the ones that died in POW camps over there, they have not got their welcome home. And I think this whole country, owes it to every single veteran of any war, any conflict, to give that veteran when he returns a welcome home. And so that flag, those two flags, that American flag and that POW MIA flag, are just, they mean a lot. And it's just, there's so many people that don't understand what that POW MIA flag really represents and stands for. And they see it flying and they think, oh, okay, cool. They call it the POW Maya flag. Well, I've had to educate a few people on that one. Yeah. And one lady said to me, very nice lady, but she says, well, it's just easier to say that. I says, do you think those guys had it easy? Oh, and then it hit her, So she'll never call it that again. But it's just we need that accountability. And when the government, basically years ago, 24 years ago, 25 years ago, basically started saying that everybody's accounted for, and sweeping it under the table, not dissing the government, just some of their actions, but that was the time that things started up. That's when James Gregory got that information, and he's a strong activist, and he jumped in and put together the first run for the wall 24 years ago. And it grew from just a few guys struggling across country, camping on the ground, begging for meals, to what it is today, where you really don't have to buy a meal on the entire run if you don't want to. Every meal is served. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner is served, except for maybe one breakfast. A lot of our fuel stops are paid for through donations. And that helps a lot, because there's people that just have to go on this run on a shoestring because they want to do it so bad. It's not a thing for just a bunch of guys with nice Harleys and a pocket full of money. It's it's a thing for everybody. We try to welcome everybody. Run for the Wall actually helps some of these guys get across country when they need it. There's just so many. We have a DBA van or motorhome, I guess, or tractor trailer or something, that travels with us all the way from Virginia, that travels with us all the way across country from the VA to help some of these guys get together and get their help get their benefits squared away, help them get them straight. It does so much for so many people. There's such an outreach out there. There's water donated by churches. It's a bunch of church groups that pass out the water. Every time we stop for fuel, we reassemble in our staging areas, and there's cold water waiting for us, right there. And all you want, all the water you want. Well, I'll tell you, it tastes pretty good sometimes. Feels pretty good. There's just, there's people setting up. We stop at one place at a shopping center or a grocery store parking lot. Okay. The local people there come out with sandwiches and with crackers and cookies and that they've worked on all this time to get ready for us, and all volunteers. They get no monetary reward. And sometimes I don't know if we give them enough pats in the back for that, but that's what makes this thing good. I mean, just to sit there and go, wow, these people are doing this for us. And there's Oh God, it's just amazing. I mean, we have it's a very structured ride. The ride, which kind of bugged me going into it in the beginning, because I don't like a lot of structure. I like some organization, but I'm not real, you know. I kind of like to have a little free rein and some room to goof around.
No, come on.
Yeah, a little bit. And but you fall into it. You just got to get there after a while, like a fuel stop. Okay, imagine refueling 400 motorcycles in 35 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Y'all can do that?
We can do that. We have an advanced team with a fuel team, and they go into the, you know, all the stops are predetermined. If you go on the website, RFTW, Run for the Wall.
Right.
If you go on that website, you can see some of this stuff.
Looking at the itinerary.
Yeah, look at the itinerary and see what we do. But every stop is prepared, done by the state organizers, the state. There's a real name for that, but for now the organizers and coordinators, state coordinators, and they coordinate every stop, every visit, you know, where we do it. They get the cities, you know, they want to help us the most, you know, to come in there. But the fuel team goes in advance, sweeps the driveways, sweeps the island areas where the bikes come in. There's two guys standing there with all the pumps are turned on, and it is chaos, but it's organized, structured chaos, kind of like the military. But yeah, but you pull up two abreast, and they'll fill the first bike first, and then they'll just read the meter on there, because we don't stop the pump every time. You don't pull out your credit card. It's got to all be done in cash, and if your bike takes $12. And all you have is 3 5s, thanks for the $3 donation. And so that one goes over, then they start filling the next bike. Well, that guy's, you know, pulling it out of the way. Then the next bike pulls it in his spot. You just keep going like that. We take every pump, and then we go over to our staging area where the advanced team is over there with our telling us where to stage, go for our different platoons, because I think there's going to be 9 platoons this year. And it starts off the leadership platoon and missing man formation, and then the first and second platoon ride side by side. I'm in the second platoon. That's who I've always been with. And this year I'm actually going to be a tail gunner in the second platoon, which means I ride right behind them, and that's an honor. I get to do that to help, just something to give back. And then the rest of the platoons of two-wheelers are staggered formation, a little bit more room. Some of the more, it's where we really want to put some of the more inexperienced riders.
Right.
And yeah, because you have to be asked to go to first or second platoon. You can't just jump in there. Then we have trikes and bikes with trailers behind that. And then we have the chase vehicles behind that, which is, some trucks with trailers, and, all the equipment to tie down. If you break down the side of the road, you just get your bike to the side, and when the chase vehicles, come by, you wave, and they'll stop and load you up and take you to the next Harley store, and which happens a lot. We are Harleys.
You are Harleys.
Yeah.
Very good.
Some of the diversity that we get on this ride is just awesome. Last year we had 2 World War II veterans with us. Yeah.
Did they ride the whole way?
They rode the whole way on 2-wheeled Harleys. One of them had his wife with him. And it's tough on a young guy like me. So, but one of them was actually a Bataan Death March survivor. Yeah, so it was an honor to meet these guys. I mean, some of the guys you get to meet. Met some pretty cool people along the way. But I mean, just the diversity that we have. All races, all branches of the service, all wars. Ex-civilians. I mean, some of the best people we have are people that never served. They just want to jump in there and help and volunteer. There's like our leadership committee. Nobody gets paid for that. But they work their tails off all year to get ready for the next year. And they, like I said, they don't get any reimbursement for it other than the fact that they help put together a major function that gets 800 to 1,000 motorcycles safely across the country. and it delivers the message.
So you do this all in 10 days.
Yes.
That's the normal time
Yeah.
frame that it would take you to travel.
Yeah.
How many miles are you logging on average a day?
Well, we started off the first 3 days going across the desert. You know, we moved pretty quick across there. That's about 400 miles
Okay.
each day.
Okay.
Okay, as we come into the state of Mississippi, when we enter there, in Vicksburg, that state does a great job. They come out with military helicopters, buzzing us as we go through, big fire trucks with flags, which you see that everywhere all the way across. But we pull into the Harley store in Jackson, Mississippi, where the guy takes out all of his inventory. It makes room to feed us lunch that day and put on guest speakers. I mean, they've had, 2 years ago, they had I'm sure you saw the movie, We Were Soldiers, a Mel Gibson movie. Remember Snake, the guy in the helicopter, they kept coming in and flying those wounded out?
Yep.
Met the real guy.
Did you
Yeah,
really?
the real guy. He was a speaker. And he had just been awarded the Medal of Honor a couple of years before that. He passed away shortly after that, but he was so funny. He gets up there and he says, "The United States Army, you gotta love them." He says, "I enlisted in the Army to be a cook." He says, "I've always wanted to be a cook. You know, I want to learn how to cook for a large group of people." They told me, after I take all the tests, they told me I wasn't qualified to be a cook, but I could fly helicopters. So just a piece of work, that guy. But the guy there at that Harley store, give you an example, my bike, the chopper I took the first year, broke down. So I got it to the Harley store in Jackson. They're shut down that day for everything else except for us, but they have their mechanics there, and they work on our bikes. So I blown a transmission.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it's a pretty ugly event, and my wife and I are just beside ourselves because we're thinking we're not going to get to finish.
Right.
Well, the owner of that Harley store basically loaned me his Ultra Classic demo to complete the ride in.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
That's
and so we got to ride that on to DC, ride it home, and then I rode it back to Jackson to pick up my chopper. Of course, that ruined it for my wife because I kept her away from those geezer glides for so long, and now she's like, you know, the Queen of Sheba sitting back there, you know, on the back big old seat, and so that was done. So we had to get a cruiser too. So we now have another bike that I ride cross country.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, it is more comfortable. I mean, because physically it's challenging. What do you do to prepare, from a physical standpoint, to prepare yourself for a ride like this? I mean, do you actually go out like a marathoner would on longer rides?
Yeah. Yeah, you try to do as much as you can. You put as much what I call butt in the seat time as you can, just to keep your endurance up. You know, make sure you're healthy enough to handle your motorcycle, alert enough to work with large groups. Make sure your motorcycle's in good shape. Because, like I said, the first 3 days they're the longest mileage, but not necessarily the longest days. Because we do so many stops as we get closer and closer to the East Coast, that you're on and off, on and off. We may only do 150 miles on the last day or two, but you're busy the whole time.
Yeah.
And so, obviously, if I'm on a bike ride, I like to get on it, go, and hope that I don't see any blue lights. But we maintain a speed of the speed limit or 5 miles below.
Okay.
We don't exceed the speed limit because we're on a major interstates interfacing with 4-wheelers, 18-wheelers,
Right.
and so we try to ride tight enough where there's not a lot of cutting in and out by those people, but they do it anyway, and because they're always in a hurry. Somebody's got something really important they got to do,
Yeah.
and so we. And mentally, you got to be ready mentally, because it gets not only does it jerk on your emotions, which totally caught me off guard the first time, but just the fact that you'll be riding beside somebody that's doing something stupid, and the first thing you want to do is strangle him.
Mm-hmm.
But then you have to remember, you have to prepare yourself for the fact that he's also on his own journey. And just because some little thing like that, do not mess up his journey. It's about him, and as much as it is about me. So we all treat each other with that kind of respect on the ride.
Yeah, I saw in really big letters on the website, no attitudes.
Yeah, yeah, no attitudes. And they mean it. I mean, a few people have actually been kicked off for their attitudes. They won't put up with it.
Well,
Yeah.
if that's what it takes, that's what it takes.
Yeah.
I mean, this is just like a whole different type of healing that you guys are working on, and there's so many different levels to this. This is your third year?
Yes, ma'am.
Third year riding, and you're going to be leaving. When do you actually leave to get to California?
I think it's either Sunday, May the 6th. I think it's Sunday, May the 6th. I'll leave because I'm going to stop by Andersonville and see the POW Memorial, or the POW Museum in Andersonville, Georgia. And then probably stop off at Arkansas, see some family, then go down to Phoenix and visit my sons and grandkids. And my wife flies into Phoenix and meets me there. And then we ride together from California on out there. So I pretty much take my time going out there and give myself plenty of leeway in case I have issues with the bike or whatever, So so I'll leave a little early. We leave Phoenix on Sunday morning, okay, before the 16th. And we hook up with a bunch of other guys that are coming in from Texas and Louisiana. Hook up with them, we ride in together to Rancho Cucamonga. We get there on Sunday. Well, we don't leave till Wednesday. But that Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, it's like a big reunion, And there's a lot of stuff that goes on. There's an FNG briefing, which they need, and they, where they get, learn some of the stuff that's going on. They can ask questions. We set up bikes where the position, what kind of position we want them in, how much, to follow by, what some of the road signals are that you're going to get from the road guards. So they learn all that. Plus, this year, I noticed last year when we get ready to leave Rancho that I looked at the flagpole and there was no POW MIA flag flying.
Yeah.
That's what we're all about. So I started looking into it. I said, you know what, I'm going to take this on myself. And so when we got back to DC, or we got back home a couple weeks later, I called the general manager of the hotel we stayed. It's a big complex there we stay. There's about 3 or 4 hotels and restaurants right there together.
Right.
So we stayed there, and but we're leaving. So I called him anyway. I says, would you have a problem with us flying the POW MIA flag the week that we're there? He said, absolutely not. Well, I asked him if he wanted to purchase it or if he wanted me to, and of course he volunteered me to do it. So, which I already had the flag. The flag that we're taking was given to me by another veteran that's on the run for the wall. It's actually flown over Arlington National Cemetery. So that flag has some meaning. So one of the things we're going to do, it's not in the itinerary yet, but we will be having a flag raising for that. Now you got to understand, if the hotel hadn't got along with it, I already had a fire team put together to put this thing up. It was going up.
There you go.
So, and I don't think we would have got a lot of lip about it. But so we are going to do that. We actually have some ex-POWs that are going to, lead the ceremony and actually raise it up. I mean, it's going to be Central and Southern Route doing it together as one, as one ride. So that flag is going up, and we'll have it there this year, and we're going to do it right.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So.
Anything else you want folks to know about the run?
Just, I encourage any rider, any veteran, to save your nickels and dimes. Go on the website, learn what it is, learn what we do. You watch that mission statement video, and it gives you a pretty good insight into what we do, and it's a great feeling. And I just encourage any of you that can, please come out. Please, if you can't join us all the way from California, go on the website, see where the stops are, and meet us there. We'd love to have you. We'd love to welcome you home. and we'll do the best we can to get you across country safely, because it is going to be about you. It's going to be about you, Mr. Veteran out there, that needs his ride as much as a fish needs water, you know. And this thing is really growing. Next year is our 25th anniversary. It's going to be a huge event. I wouldn't miss it for the world. There's nothing's going to keep me off a motorcycle next year to make this ride. So I have a lot of friends that are going to try to make it, you know. And you know, I know a lot of people working, a lot of people can't get time off, a lot of people don't have the money, or they got family issues, and I understand that. And you know, just do what you can, man. You know, if you can make it a little while. This goes women too. I mean, yeah, we have a lot of women riders, a lot of women veterans.
That's good.
You know, in fact, the route commander for the southern route this year is a woman, airborne. She's actually a pretty big wheel with the VA, and yeah, I think she ran the Virginia VA hospital for quite a while.
Really?
Yeah, she.
What's her name?
Lori. I can't remember. I have to look it up, but well, it's on the website.
It's on the website.
Yeah, but she awesome lady. You know, tall, very demonstrative. You know, attractive, and she gets the job done. So that's going to be a great experience riding with her this year. I look forward to working with her, and just you know, just like, and if you can't go on the ride, if you're not a rider, just go out and check it out anyway. And if you can make it to a point where we're going to cross a highway that you may be near, come out and see something, a spectacle that you may only see once in your life. Well, you know, it's worth it.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's a. I mean, I remember Memorial Day very clearly up in D.C. when my family lived up there, and it's something to see.
Yeah.
It is something to see.
Well, that young staff sergeant, that Marine staff sergeant that holds the salute for the entire deal of Rolling Thunder, came all the way from Rancho Cucamonga, California, with us last year to D.C.
Did he really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Nice kid. We had a couple beers together.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Laura, what else do you need for video interview wise?
No, I think everything's pretty much covered.
You did a great job.
Oh,
You
thanks.
told
Yeah,
very
it's a subject I love, so.
That's
Yeah.
obvious.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
Yeah.
I do have a question for you.
Okay.
I'm creating the public service announcements for our Welcome Home event coming up in May that we have every year here.
Uh-huh.
And unfortunately, you won't be here for it. 'Cause
Right.
you'd probably really like to come out.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's sort of geared towards the now generation of service members. But anyway, I have spokespeople for Channel 4 and Channel 5, but nobody for Channel 2. Would you like to be that guy? Down in front of your motorcycle? Say, hi, I'm so-and-so Vietnam veteran, and we're inviting you to Welcome Home on the Yorktown.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Do a
Yeah.
tag out. And the nice thing about Welcome Home is, while, you know, VA across the country, they started this. I don't know if you're familiar with.
And kind of wave? And
Back to you.
well, no, standing like you are. Wave. Now stay still. All right, and now keep going around. Finish your spin. Now finish your spin. All right. Cool. Whenever you're ready.